is getting started. And sitting down with a new distributor and writing out, you know, what their website is for the back office, what their distributor ID is, their goals, some of the pay, and who their partners are. So that first box in the upper left side, setting up your website. Once you enroll the distributor, they immediately get their distributor ID. And what a better place than right here to start with, just jotting that down for them so they have it in a place until they have it memorized, or they they find somewhere else to keep it. So start with that, get their ID down, because they're going to need that each time that they log into the back office. And that's the next link there, is sitting down with them and showing them what the back office is. You can go to LifeVantage.com, or you can go to this evo-lifevantage.my virtual office, my voffice.com. I always go to LifeVantage.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, it'll say login, or if you're on your mobile phone in the upper left, that little hamburger icon, if you click on that, you can log in from there. Michelle always logs in from our replicated site. So one of ours is michellepoe.com. Or I'm sorry, michellepoe.lifevantage.com. Another one of our business centers is biohack.lifevantage.com. So you can always log into your back office from your replicated website, and that's what you're putting down next for them with your distributor, is going actually into their back office and go to the services tab, then business site admin, and you can put in if they want to change whatever that they currently set up. Most of the time people are putting something with their name or something that has to do with the business itself, and set it up in there so that they know where to send customers and distributors, and where they can set up shopping carts to get people set up in their business right away. So that's the very first things that I would do, you guys, is get their ID down, get them into the back office, and setting up their replicated website and knowing what that replicated website name is. And it's always going to end .lifevantage.com. The second part that I'm going over on this page is how to qualify to be paid. And we teach over and over again that $200 plus in personal volume is what it's going to take to maximize our compensation plan. So go through, what did they set up their auto ship for? Explain to them the importance of having that $200 plus auto ship. And if they aren't up to that $200 mark, your goal is to get them offset by customers that they directly bring in within the first calendar month, to ensure that that second month they have enough PV to maximize the compensation plan. It used to be, when we signed up in 2011, you guys, it was $40 at a time, because LifeVantage only had Pro Tandem. That was our flagship product. That was what we built our business off of. Now, with the additions of the different stacks and having, you know, Nerf 1, Nerf 2, the Omega Plus, having the probiotic, it's pretty easy for somebody to get to that $200 mark. Axio, the physique line, the skincare system. So finding out what they're going to use personally in their household and kind of jotting it down here and seeing what it adds up to. If they're only at that $100 to $199 PV mark, we know that that's going to limit them on the compensation plan when they bring in new customers and new distributors. Instead of getting paid 40%, they're only going to get paid 30%. So they're having a reduction in pay by 25% if they're not up to that full $200 mark. So make sure you're educating them on the importance of 200. You only have to have 40 of that coming from you, and the rest can be offset by customers. But again, I'm telling you, with the product line that we have now, it's not too hard to get somebody up to those levels if they're utilizing the products and being a product of the products. Now, if they're under $100, if they've only auto shipped for $40 or $70 or $90, or if they don't even have an auto ship, that's an issue, because they will not get paid. And that's the worst thing that you could have set up when somebody starts a business, is they're not going to get paid when they bring in new customers and new distributors. So if neither one of these boxes is checked, that they're not either at 100 to 199 or 200 plus, they're in jeopardy of not getting a commission check. Okay, so these are very, very important first steps to walk somebody through, and it doesn't take a ton of time, but go through these steps with your new person. Now, the short-term goals, this is about getting your business started right away and recommending establishing clear goals to that new person. And how fast do they want to go? So ask questions like this. You know, how fast do you want to get your money back? We're spending $1,250 today on the Platinum Pack and the starter kit. You know, do you want that back in a month? Do you want that back in a week? Do you want that back in 6 months? Depending on how fast they want it back, depends on how many people we need to get this in front of and how many meetings we need to do right away. Now, then you can start to go further and start talking about, okay, let's set up short-term goals for hitting Pro 1, Pro 2, Pro 3. If somebody signs up with the Platinum Pack, you guys, that box is checked right away. I am a Pro 1 today because they've already got $1,000 in commissionable volume. They've hit Pro 1. And then start looking at, I'm a Pro 2 buy. Let's say they signed up today. It's the middle of November right now. They have 15 days, 2 weeks to build their business. If they got in another Platinum Pack and a Gold Pack into their business, they could be Pro 2 by the end of the month if they started with the Platinum Pack. And then look at Pro 3. Maybe their goal is to hit Pro 3 by the end of January because they want the Pro 3 Frenzy money. That's a promotion that's going on currently in the company where if you hit Pro 3 by the end of January of 2018, you're going to win, or not win, but they're going to give you an extra bonus of $250. And if you maintain it in February or any of the months that this promotion's going on, if you hit it in November, maintain December or January, you get another $250. So that might be a great goal for a new person, is getting them to Pro 3 really quick, maintaining for a month, and adding another $500 onto their plate. So those are the first things that I would walk through. On the right side of this page, we're talking about the why, your goals behind building the LifeVantage business. And they truly are everything, because there's going to be days that it seems like all you're getting are no's. And you'll remember I said that this is a simplistic business. That doesn't mean it's easy, but it's simplistic. And to get through the mental mindset, which is 80% of this business, some days you've got to have that driving force behind what you're doing, your why. You need to know what it is. And the next page, we're going to really get into what the why is and talking about the why. But I want to introduce this on the very first page of getting started because of the importance. And then there's a blank page on the next that will talk about the different things that you want to examine with the person that you're sitting in front of. Now, the bottom right-hand corner of this is your support team. Introduce them immediately to as many team members as you possibly can. And I would say at a very minimum, it's 3 people that you're trying to get them introduced, preferably on the phone while you're sitting down with them right there. But if you can't, at least writing down your information as far as phone number and email, and then 2 of your upline that you closely work with. So Michelle and I, for example, we might be putting down here Nikki Elsing and Joanne Shear, or we might be putting down one of them in Dr. Mark Gordon, or we might be putting down Carrie or Maria. We're probably not going above, 4 or 5 levels above us, but we're writing down people that they can interact with and do this business with. This is a business of doing it as a team. It's not an individual effort, and they need to know who their team members are. We have some people that are really great about sending out introduction emails. Those are important. They get to know people. I don't check my email very often anymore. Text messaging, I check that pretty regularly. So I see that way before I'll see an email from somebody. But if you can schedule a time with your upline with 2 or 3 of them where you're saying, hey, I'm sitting down with this new person here tonight at 7 o'clock, who's available to just click on and quickly introduce themselves and get to know this person, and reach out to your upline, work with them, and see who you can get introduced to your new team so they can feel the energy of the team. They can feel the importance of what we have our hands on, and people that have had success and have been in the business for a little bit. So that is page number 1. Do we want to stop and you guys can unmute, ask me any questions that you have on this before we get into a more detailed version of going through the why with somebody? We're good, we're good. All right, I'm gonna assume we're good, so we'll keep flying through here. The second page, as I was just saying, is the why. Now this is blank, it's left blank intentionally because I want you to have an area that you can really get into the reason behind. And there's gonna be two different things that I would do with this page. One of them would be also printing off the income disclosure statement, and you can get that from LifeVantage.com. Go down to the bottom right, look for income disclosure or earnings claim statement, and look at the ranks from Pro 1 to Pro 10 in the company and ask somebody what they're looking for financially out of this business. If you could hit one of these levels in the next 12 months, where would it be? If you could hit a level on this income disclosure statement in the next 3 to 5 years, what would that look like? Because the roadmap does look a little bit different for the person that's only looking for $500 residually, as opposed to the person that's looking for $5,000 or $20,000 or $50,000 a month. And so you have to understand the financial reasons that somebody wants to do this business and what they're looking to get out of it. And then we can start to roadmap with them. And then the personal why. We hear this over and over again. Your why should make you cry. And really getting into, okay, you've joined LifeVantage. What is behind, the purpose of you doing this? Is it because of the health benefits? Is it because of impacting other people? Is it because of the financial side? What is it that's going to drive you on a day-to-day basis to do what you need to do on the days that you don't want to do it? That's what we're looking for here. And the more questions you can ask and the more onions you can peel behind this section, the more you're going to set somebody up for success. Because then when it's, minus 40 out here in South Dakota and they don't want to go to a meeting or they don't want to go to a training, you can bring them back to their why. Or they don't want to sign up for the next Elite Academy or global convention or something like that. We can bring them back to the purpose behind why they're sacrificing and what they're willing to give up. And that's another thing that I would walk through a new person right away here, is talking about what are you willing to sacrifice and what are the unnegotiable items in your life. There's some people that, they're willing to work 7 days a week and they're willing to work 12 to 14 hours a day, with what their day job is, and just burn the candle at both ends. And there's other people that they have very strict guidelines framing when they will and they won't build this business. Some people, they won't work on Sundays, so understanding that. Some people, it might be limited to a Tuesday and a Thursday night for 2 hours. So understanding what they're willing to sacrifice and what they're not willing to sacrifice, and asking more and more questions. So for an example, at LVAs, when I train on this, I get somebody up. I get somebody that's telling me that they're looking for financial change in their life, and I'll really start to peel the onion on that. And typically, it goes something like this. I'll ask them, okay, why are you doing this business? And at first they'll say, because I want to be debt-free. And then I'm getting into, okay, if we can be open and honest with this and have an adult conversation, it's really going to help both of us out. Could you tell me, or would you tell me approximately how much debt you're looking to wipe away? And, sometimes it ranges from 10, 15,000. I've had people tell me, 80, 100,000 of debt. And then we get into, okay, I want you to tell me, what that feels like right now. When you think about having $80,000 in debt or $50,000 in debt, whatever that they're telling you that they have, what does that feel like? What is the emotion behind it and the stress behind that? And get them to think about it and visualize it and create that emotion. And then what you want to do is walk them down the path of the income disclosure statement and where they told you that they want to be. And let's say they say, okay, I want to be at, Pro 7, which the average Pro 7 is making over $10,000 a month. And we can get them there in the next 18 months is the plan that we discussed. And now we're looking at, okay, in 18 months from now, we're looking at creating an extra $10,000 plus in your life. Now, if we took that money and we kept reinvesting it into yourself, if we kept reinvesting it into what your ultimate goal is and that debt reduction, how fast could we wipe away that $50,000 of debt? You know, in 18 months from now, if you are getting that mailbox money of $10,000 a month plus on the 15th, guess what? In 6 more months, you've already paid that off. On the 5th month, you paid it off. And guess what happens on the 15th of that 6th month? You have another $10,000 residual check. And this is the process that you start to get them to dream, to open up their mind and to expand into, okay, that part of it's done. The burden side's done. What are you feeling? What does it feel like? You know, what emotions do you have when you wake up and you get that check for $10,000 and it's not going to pay off debt anymore? What are the luxuries in your life that you've wanted to have, but you've never spent the money on? What sorts of vacations have you always dreamed of doing, and how much would that cost you to actually take? And this is where you're going to see somebody's face absolutely light up, because inside their mind, they don't know the difference between reality and dreaming. They don't. And it creates the exact same emotion and the exact same physiological changes in their body when they're thinking about it as if they have it. And if you can make it concrete enough that inside their head, they think that they have it, they're going to be willing to bust through walls and move mountains to get there. And so the further we can peel this onion and really get into this, the better. What I would do is, after they've given you that dream list of a few things, is take it a next step further, and then the next step. Okay, on the 7th month after it's paid off, you have another $10,000 check. What are you doing? What sort of people can you contribute to nonprofits that you could write a check to? How many people could you impact just by opening up your wallet at this point and contributing to their lives? What other sort of luxury items that you've never been able to get into your life would you want to treat yourself to? You know, what other things would you want to do? And some people, they'll continue to dream and build. Some people, they'll kind of get stuck because they haven't ever truly thought that they would get to that point. And we're going to continue to grow their businesses. So we're not stopping at that Pro 7 money, right? We're going to continue to train people and teach people. And then all of a sudden, think about if it went from $10,000 a month extra on the 15th to 20. Get them to really open up their minds, you guys. I know that money sounds crazy to a lot of people, but I'm telling you, it can happen in a 3 to 5 year period for people that really buckle down and they put in the necessary effort to follow the system and do what it was designed to do. Get this in front of a minimum of 15 new people a month for yourself. Do 15 meetings. Our lives were upside down, honestly, for the first 18 months, but we were willing to sacrifice that because we had a burning desire in our life to get me out of the corporate environment. And that's what I tell people. It takes 3 things in this business to have success. You have to have that burning desire in your life to change. You've got to be coachable. You've got to be teachable. And you've got to have a good work ethic, okay? If you have those 3 things, I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your prior experience is. You can have success in this business.